Hey, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to your ultimate destination for all things Dallas Cowboys. From the latest news, game analyses, rumors, to deep dives into player performances and strategies, we've got you covered. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a play. Let's dive into everything you need to know about America's team. The rumor mill is absolutely exploding right now. And if you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, you might want to sit down for this because what is being whispered behind the scenes feels like something straight out of a blockbuster script. Word is circulating that the organization has made a shocking and aggressive move by bringing in none other than Terry McLaurin, a player known across the league for his consistency, explosiveness, and quiet leadership. This is not just a casual pickup or depth addition. This is the kind of move that signals urgency, ambition, and possibly a shift in identity. Sources close to the situation suggest that this deal came together quickly, almost too quickly, catching even insiders off guard. There's a growing belief that the Cowboys front office felt pressure to inject something fresh into the offense, something dynamic, something that could stretch defenses and open opportunities everywhere else on the field. And McLaurin, with his precise route running and elite speed, fits that vision almost perfectly. What makes this situation even more intriguing is the sense that this was not a move made in isolation, but rather part of a bigger, more calculated plan that has been quietly developing. The Cowboys have been under scrutiny for their offensive inconsistency, and whispers suggest that there has been internal frustration about the lack of a true game-changing presence in critical moments. Bringing in Terry McLaurin could be seen as a direct response to those concerns, a bold attempt to redefine how this team attacks defenses. Insiders hint that conversations about this move have been happening for longer than people realize, possibly weeks or even months, with multiple scenarios being evaluated before the trigger was finally pulled. There's also speculation that McLaurin himself was eager for a fresh start, a new environment where his talents could be maximized in a more aggressive offensive scheme. The chemistry factor is already being debated, with some believing he could immediately become a favorite target and a locker room stabilizer. But here is where things take an even more dramatic turn, because as quickly as this excitement builds, there's a shadow hanging over the entire situation. Reports are now suggesting that in order to make room for this surprise acquisition, the Cowboys have made the tough and controversial decision to part ways with a respected veteran presence. While names have not been officially confirmed, the idea that a long-standing figure could be shown the door to accommodate this new direction is sending shockwaves through the fan base. This is not just a roster move. It is an emotional shift, a signal that loyalty and tenure might be taking a back seat to performance and potential upside. Those within the organization are reportedly divided, with some seeing it as a necessary step toward evolution, while others feel it could disrupt the locker room chemistry that has been carefully built over time. The tension between past and future is becoming impossible to ignore. The speculation around the veteran release has only intensified the spotlight on Terry McLaurin, placing him in a position where expectations are already sky high before he even steps onto the field in a Cowboys uniform. Fans are debating whether he can truly be the difference maker this team has been searching for, or if this is another high-profile gamble that could backfire under pressure. There's also a growing narrative that this move is less about immediate results and more about sending a message, both internally and externally, that the Cowboys are no longer willing to settle for incremental improvement. They want impact, they want explosiveness, and they want it now. Analysts are pointing out that McLaurin's skill set could unlock new dimensions in the offense, forcing defenses to adjust in ways that could benefit the entire unit. Still, there's always risk when expectations rise this quickly. Another layer to this unfolding story is the reaction from within the locker room, which remains one of the biggest unknowns. The arrival of a player like Terry McLaurin inevitably shifts dynamics, reshapes roles, and creates both opportunities and challenges for existing players. Some are expected to thrive alongside him, benefiting from the attention he draws from defenders, while others may find their roles diminished or redefined in uncomfortable ways. There are whispers that certain players were caught off guard by the move, learning about it almost at the same time as the public, which raises questions about communication and trust within the organization. At the same time, there are reports that key figures in the team are excited about the possibilities, viewing this as a chance to elevate the entire offense to a new level. The emotional balance between excitement and uncertainty is palpable. And as the dust continues to swirl, one thing becomes increasingly clear: this is not just another offseason storyline. This is a defining moment for the Dallas Cowboys. The decision to bring in Terry McLaurin while simultaneously moving on from a veteran presence represents a crossroads, a point where the organization is choosing to embrace change, even if it comes with risk. Fans are watching closely, analysts are dissecting every angle, and the pressure is building with each passing hour. Whether this move ultimately pays off or becomes a cautionary tale will depend on how all these pieces come together, how quickly chemistry is established, and how effectively the team can translate this bold decision into performance on the field. For now, all we have are whispers, speculation, and a growing sense that something big is unfolding. As the story continues to develop, the focus shifts toward what this means for the broader identity of the team moving forward. The addition of Terry McLaurin is not just about adding talent. It is about redefining expectations and possibly reshaping the offensive philosophy entirely. There are indications that the coaching staff sees him as more than just a receiver, but as a centerpiece, someone who can dictate matchups and influence how opposing defenses structure their game plans. This kind of influence is rare, and it comes with immense responsibility, especially in a market where every move is magnified and every performance is scrutinized. The Cowboys have always been a team surrounded by attention, but this move has elevated that spotlight to an entirely different level. The narrative is shifting, and with it comes both opportunity and pressure. Meanwhile, the departure of the veteran player continues to loom large over the conversation, adding an emotional weight that cannot be ignored. This was not just a roster spot. This was a presence, a voice, someone who likely contributed to the culture and stability of the team in ways that do not always show up on the stat sheet. Letting go of that kind of influence is never easy, and it often carries consequences that extend beyond the field. There are whispers that some players are struggling to process the decision, questioning what it means for their own futures and the values of the organization. At the same time, others see it as a wake-up call, a reminder that in professional sports, change is constant and security is never guaranteed. The balance between honoring the past and embracing the future is delicate, and the Cowboys are walking that line right now. For Terry McLaurin, this moment represents both an opportunity and a challenge unlike any he has faced before. Stepping into a new environment with heightened expectations and immediate scrutiny is never easy, but it is also the kind of situation that can define a career. There is a belief among some insiders that he is uniquely equipped to handle this pressure, thanks to his professionalism, work ethic, and ability to stay focused amidst chaos. Others, however, caution that the transition may not be as seamless as some hope, pointing to the complexities of learning a new system, building chemistry with a new quarterback, and adjusting to a different locker room dynamic. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but one thing is certain: all eyes will be on him from the very beginning. The strategic implications of this move are also being dissected from every possible angle, with analysts trying to understand how exactly Terry McLaurin will be utilized within the Cowboys offense. Will he be the primary target, the deep threat, the possession receiver, or perhaps a combination of all these roles depending on the situation? There is speculation that the coaching staff plans to move him around the formation, creating mismatches and forcing defenses to constantly adjust. This kind of versatility could be a game changer, but it also requires precise execution and coordination across the entire offense. Every route, every timing pattern, every adjustment must be perfectly aligned for it to work at the highest level. The margin for error is small, and the expectations are enormous. At the same time, the ripple effects of this decision are being felt across the roster, influencing not just the offense but the overall team dynamic. Players who were previously comfortable in their roles may now find themselves competing for targets, snaps, and relevance in a more crowded and competitive environment. This can be both motivating and destabilizing, depending on how it is managed by the coaching staff and leadership within the locker room. There are whispers that this move could spark internal competition that ultimately raises the level of play across the board. But there is also the risk of tension and frustration if expectations are not clearly communicated. Managing these dynamics will be crucial in determining whether this bold gamble pays off or creates unintended consequences. As the speculation continues to build, one cannot ignore the broader message that this move sends to the rest of the league. The Dallas Cowboys are signaling that they are willing to take risks, make tough decisions, and pursue impact players even if it means disrupting the status quo. This kind of approach can be both admired and criticized depending on the outcome, but it undeniably positions the team as one that is actively seeking transformation rather than settling for incremental progress. Whether this gamble with Terry McLaurin becomes a defining success or a cautionary tale remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the conversation around this team has changed dramatically, and the entire football world is watching closely as this story continues to unfold. And just when it seemed like the situation could not get any more intense, new whispers began to surface suggesting that the internal expectations for Terry McLaurin are even higher than what is being discussed publicly. There is a growing sense that the Dallas Cowboys are not simply hoping he contributes, but rather expecting him to immediately transform the rhythm and identity of the offense. Some insiders believe the coaching staff is already designing specific packages centered entirely around his strengths, envisioning scenarios where he becomes the focal point in critical moments. This kind of trust, especially so early, speaks volumes about how highly he is valued internally. At the same time, it creates a pressure cooker environment where every route, every catch, and every missed opportunity will be magnified. Fans are already debating whether it is fair to place such weight on a player who is still adjusting to a new system, but the organization appears to be fully committed to this bold direction. There's also an emerging narrative that this move could have deeper implications for the leadership structure within the locker room. The departure of the veteran figure, combined with the arrival of Terry McLaurin, may signal a shift in who holds influence and how that influence is exercised. Leadership in professional sports is rarely static, and moments like this often accelerate transitions that might have otherwise taken much longer to unfold. Some voices around the team suggest that McLaurin's calm demeanor and disciplined approach could naturally position him as a respected presence, even without the need for vocal dominance. Others wonder whether existing leaders will embrace this change or view it as an intrusion into established dynamics. The balance between respect for hierarchy and openness to new voices will play a crucial role in determining how smoothly this transition unfolds behind closed doors. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Another angle that has started to gain traction is the possibility that this move was also influenced by long-term planning rather than just immediate needs. The Dallas Cowboys may be looking beyond the present moment, envisioning how Terry McLaurin fits into a broader strategy that extends into future seasons. This kind of thinking often involves difficult decisions, including moving on from players who have been part of the organization for a long time. While fans tend to focus on the emotional side of these departures, front offices are often driven by projections, timelines, and the constant pursuit of competitive advantage. If McLaurin is seen as a cornerstone piece moving forward, then the decision to reshape the roster around him begins to make more sense, even if it remains controversial in the short term. The challenge will be aligning this long-term vision with the immediate expectations that come with such a high-profile move. At the same time, speculation continues to swirl about how opposing teams are reacting to this development. The addition of Terry McLaurin is not happening in a vacuum, and defensive coordinators across the league are likely already analyzing how to adjust their schemes to account for his presence. This could lead to a ripple effect where other players on the Cowboys roster find themselves with more favorable matchups, creating opportunities that did not previously exist. However, It could also result in increased pressure on McLaurin himself, as defenses may prioritize limiting his impact above all else. The strategic chess match that unfolds from this point forward will be fascinating to watch, as each side adapts and counters in real time. The margin between success and failure at this level is incredibly thin, and even small adjustments can have significant consequences. As the conversation continues to evolve, one thing remains undeniable. This move has fundamentally changed the narrative surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. The arrival of Terry McLaurin, combined with the emotional weight of the veteran's departure, has created a storyline filled with intrigue, uncertainty, and high expectations. Fans are watching closely, analysts are debating every angle, and the team itself is navigating a complex mix of excitement and pressure. Whether this bold decision ultimately leads to a new era of success or becomes a lesson in the risks of aggressive change will depend on how all these elements come together over time. For now, the speculation continues to grow, the rumors keep spreading, and the sense that something truly significant is unfolding refuses to fade. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.